Call the summer meeting of Crewe Town Council to order. At this time, we'll have the invocation and the pledge of allegiance. And a moment of silence. Give Johnny B. the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we have no public hearings. We obviously have no delegations from the public. And then we go to the consent calendar. The minutes of the consent calendar are considered routine and will be approved by one motion. Any item can be removed from the calendar at the request of a member of council and may be voted on separately. The bills have been checked. We have additions before you. And of course, the minutes of the town council meeting were in the packet. We have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. All right. Mr. Knight, Mr. Abel, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed by like sign. Motion carries. Town manager's report.
Okay. Just a few items. Update on the tree situation, the number's now up to 75. It keeps growing. The one owner has 64 trees. We have negotiated prices on all of them, and right now we're in the process of getting approval from the Department of Aviation to pay 80% of the cost. We've also compiled a cost estimate on town forces taking down and removing the trees. We base that on hourly wages and state rates for equipment. Again, they have said that they will pay 80% of that cost. This is not a small project, as you might have figured out by now. We keep talking about it, but the cost of trees alone is around $18,000. We're looking at $30-some thousand for labor and equipment. I expect they'll probably call me when they get that and say that they don't agree with that number, and then we'll negotiate that number. And what I'm trying to get them to do, as y'all know, is pick up 20% and pay for all the trees, and our folks will take care of the rest of it. So I think I would do that if I were them, but we'll see. Just so you know, leaf pickup, you probably noticed, has been really wild lately. We made a lot of special effort to get the Christmas parade route clean and keep it clean for that week, and they did a good job on that. I was hoping somebody would be here because we're having a problem with people putting them where they shouldn't, and also limbs and debris. And I've got to figure out a way to get that out to the public again. They're putting them in ditches, they're putting them in alleys, and they really hurt themselves because they're blocking up drainage. Of course, some of you know, there've been a series of water breaks. It's that time of year when the weather starts to get colder, and particularly when it fluctuates like it does sometimes in our climate, where it gets so cold and then warm. Had quite a few on the 460. Some of them were related to the resurfacing. A couple of them weren't. We did have a truck the other night hit a fire hydrant on 460 and knocked that off, and that was about a 5 p.m. till after midnight fix. Around $5,000 worth of damage. And of course we'll try to get back from their insurance company.
Just a quick question on that.
Sure.
When we talked to the insurance company about that, do we look at the water lost as well? Because that's pre-made water. It's
Typically we
treated
don't.
with chemicals.
We could try to do that if we could come up with a reasonable gallons, which we probably could. It included.
Right.
Yeah.
I think Tony pretty much included that anyway.
He may include it. I'll check on that. I checked today just to be sure, although I couldn't really remember what they told us in the grant application that we submitted. They said no word yet, and they didn't expect to hear anything probably until March. I'd forgotten that it was going to be that long, but just wanted to update you on that. And then Friday, we handed out our annual Christmas bonus to student employees. They all wanted to be sure that I thanked y'all, pass along their sincere appreciation. And we'll be sure to thank you and wish you all a Merry Christmas as well. That is all I had.
All right, any questions for the town manager? Very good, we'll give the town attorney's report.
Thank you. This month I have looked over the proposed charter changes that Bill had proposed. Everything looked good with that and was in compliance with the code. I also looked into the question about the ordinance with sitting or lying on or about the graves and got some comments back to you all on that. And then working on the petitions for condemnation on the Lipscomb Stratton project, and I'm hoping to get those filed here shortly, hopefully before Christmas.
Do we have any resolution on the one question? Okay.
No, sir, and I had asked for an offer. He said that he was getting an engineer to look, but I need to reach out for him again because our time is running short on being
Sure.
able to file
Sure.
them, so I'm hoping he'll either say, your time to file it is extended, or go ahead and file it, and we don't have to serve them when we file them too, if we have horrible and things, so. That's all I have.
Any questions for the town attorney? Very good. Go to the mayor's report. We had an outstanding Christmas parade Thursday night. I think all of you were there in line. Mr. Miskovic came up with a great PR piece on healthy living, healthy eating, active living, where we all walked the parade route in support
Because
of
that's
that.
why we all walked.
That's right, yeah, which was really good. And that kind of brings me to mind, I have not drafted resolutions for Sue Williamson and that team that put the Christmas parade together, and I'd also like to draft a resolution for the Crewe Railroad Park employee, or volunteers that are out there, but I don't have anything drafted yet, but if a vote is in order, if you want to express your appreciation for the volunteers that do both, we could entertain a motion.
Sure, so moved.
All right, Phil. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And you opposed by like sign. All right, great. I'll get something drafted and we'll get it to them to thank them for their volunteer hours that they put in. We forgot to vote on the water rate last month after we had our public hearing, and at this time I would entertain a motion for the water rate increase as it was advertised and we discussed.
There's both an increase and a decrease, and do we need to
Yes.
take them individually?
That's probably just taking them individually is probably the best
Okay.
idea.
Mayor, I move that we decrease the in-town business water rates according to what was advertised,
Okay,
effective January 1.
all right. We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Let me, is it easier, Wade, if we do it January 1 or
15.
whenever the cycle ends?
Probably when it's like
Cycle ends, and the cycle ends on the 15th?
15th to the 15th is when we're ready.
Okay,
Okay,
let me amend that to say the 15th.
okay. Got it. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second to decrease the water rates effective January 15th as advertised. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed by like sign. Motion carries.
Mayor, I move that we increase the out-of-town business rates as advertised, effective January 15, 2018.
Very well. We have a motion to increase the out-of-town water rates as advertised effective January 15th. Do we have a second?
Second.
Who was that?
Bill.
All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed by like sign.
You get bulletproof vest on, so
Motion carries. Good. All right. We have made, with the finance committee, and the town manager and I met with the insurance folks, as we told you before, I believe, regarding the rate increases. So we're trying to adjust our business practices in City Hall or in Town Hall. One of the things that we directed was that all those employees that have cars, that are take-home cars that are out of the town, cannot do that anymore effective 1 January. That they were given fair warning on the 1st of December. The police seem to have a little problem with that. They feel that their cars are office. I told them I would bring it up with council, but I told them also that it's, you know, it is a business decision, and it, you know, there's no vote of council really necessary unless you want to vote to support what we've already done as a sound business practice.
Is there any figure that we feel we're saving? I know there are other reasons that it,
It's an estimate, but a low estimate, 15,000 a year.
The other option, of course, is to make them pay their, you know, cost of their share of their insurance, and of course, that hits our lower end employees pretty bad.
I'm sorry, you said we're saving $15,000 a year by not allowing?
12.
Wow,
Like 12 to 15, you know what you said?
Yeah.
okay,
well, thank you.
Fuel,
wow, okay,
wear and tear,
right, right.
and as a side note, I mean, it didn't really have any effect on the decision, but two of the vehicles that were taken home were damaged. Wouldn't have happened if they'd been here, so just, we were trying to find ways, there are other ways that we're looking at, and I've discussed, these are possibilities, I haven't done yet, but right now, the uniforms is 19,000 a year expense. Our guys have uniforms, which is half what it costs, because they pay the other half. So we're considering coming up with a dress code, doing away with the uniforms, and they're obviously, they're not opposed to that because it puts that money in their pocket. But we also want to try to maintain a level of professionalism and notoriety, if you will, whether it be hats that we buy that say Town of Crewe, some type of badges or whatever that shows that there are employees of the town, so.
But this is general staff, not police department?
No, no, no.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Street department.
Okay.
Plain
No,
Village
we
Police
couldn't do
Department.
that. And again, we're just talking about that.
Okay. Very good.
So,
We lowered actually lowered our health plan from a platinum plan to a gold plan. And basically, the only difference was copay went up, instead of 10, it's 20. I don't think we're gonna have a whole lot of feedback from anybody on that. Obviously, I've talked to all the department heads, and everybody understands what's going on, so we're trying to keep good, solid health insurance coverage, and at the same time, be able to do the things that we need to do.
so if we can curve off a little bit here and a little bit there, it all adds up. All right, good enough. Committee reports. Infrastructure Committee, Mr. Siska's not here. Mr. Knight, Mr. Foster, Mr. Miskovic, any comment?
I don't hear
Mr. Knight, Finance.
that. No report.
Personnel, Ms. Stinson.
No report, just wish all of our employees a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Volunteer Services, Mr. Foss.
Yeah, I have a few things. At our last meeting at the Chamber of Commerce, we always use December as brainstorming. And one of the things that came up was the amount of organizations that we have in this town that are kind of on the decline. That meaning older people or people that just can't come out anymore. So what we're trying to do is get a list of all the organizations. So far, the only ones that I know of are the Kiwanis, the Lions, the Garden Club, the Railroad Museum, Friends of the Library, Crewe Junior Women's Club, the Wash Bucket Initiative, and the Crewe Burkeville Ministerial Association. Is anybody else aware of any other organizations before I start reaching out for them?
Yeah, the VFW, the American Legion.
Did you include the chamber on there?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's also,
The chamber's
there's also a number of church organizations.
I know.
In the churches.
I think that all would come under the Ministerial Association. There's quite a few.
Not all of them belong to the Ministerial
No.
Association. So.
All right, well, at least this is a start. Then one of our members came up and said, Ann, that the same amount of people that we have here at our regular monthly meeting are affiliated with these organizations. So you take any one of them, they can be involved with the chamber, and also two other organizations. So my feeling is that when I make these calls to these individuals, I want a member that is not part of any of these other organizations. I want to try to single out one person to try to represent us, and then have a meeting with them. The purpose being is that each organization is trying to do their own thing, whether it be trying to help the town or whatever their endeavor is, and everybody is shorthanded. So if we can unite all of these organizations to come under one umbrella when somebody is doing something, we might have a better chance of getting more people involved.
Sure.
The other thing that was brought up, and we are going to follow it, is that we as the chamber realized that even though we have grown from 29 to 91, we still have the membership that come out is always still between 12 and 15. Lately, in the last 4 months, it's been 12. What we are going to do, and I'm going to try to reach out to the police chief, is that we want to try to institute a young people's association connected with the chamber. So that when the chamber has functions, they're on board, and anybody else that has functions, they're on board. So we kind of looked at the age group at least a minimum, did we say 14?
14.
14 years of age. So I don't know where we start with that, whether it's starting with the police department, starting with the school. If anybody has any ideas, I would be open to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Foss. If you have any ideas that will
I'll be
support,
meeting with the superintendent.
support this effort, we encourage you to contact Mr. Foss directly.
I would also add to your list, Bill, the Nottaway Historical Association and the Fire Department's Ladies Auxiliary.
I have superintendent's advisory meeting. I think it's Wednesday afternoon, and I'll bring it up.
Okay, thank you.
All right, economic development, Mr. Bisquick.
Thank you, Mayor. A few of us met with DHCD last week, 2 weeks ago, sometime recently.
It's December 1st, whenever that
December
was.
1st, okay, right. And it was a very informative meeting. They gave us some resources to use and some things to think about. What I'm gonna do is take those resources and look at putting together a proposal of things that maybe we want to start implementing. Because one thing they gave us was a list of things that are not included in the building or maintenance code that are included in statute that we can use as tools for decreasing blight. So we need to make sure that we at least have on ordinance anything that we can have on ordinance for that purposes. So some of the things are, say, the council can establish an ordinance for X, Y, and Z. We want to make sure that we have that ordinance for X, Y, and Z. So if we ever want to use that ordinance, we can, and then we can go from there.
Good idea.
Because the first step.
Good idea.
And then we have some longer term things that we'll talk about. I noticed, and have been noticing, in the past couple months, several positive updates downtown. The church looks like it's complete or just about complete, and is, it's no longer,
Asshole.
thank you.
Doesn't have a hole in the
Right,
side.
that doesn't have a hole in the side, the sidewalk's no longer closed, so thank you to the individuals who took care of that. SNK is now SNK Recreation, Family Recreation. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but it's a new sign, and it's
It's supposed to be
it sounds
taking
promising.
over all the things that have been shut down.
Okay, very good. Okay. The Journal redid their outside, cleaned it up a bit. There's a new dog grooming business opening up next to Booker's. And that building on West Virginia Avenue, which I thought would be a hole in the ground, is now looking really nice with a new roof. And All that, so thank you to everyone and, who took part in getting all of that done, and, the new businesses coming in, it's looking like we're ending on a good note this year. And my only other thing for economic development, there was a county economic development committee meeting scheduled for last Thursday. Unfortunately, it was at the same time as our Christmas parade, so
I sent them a note, so they can't be there.
perfect.
They count.
Oh, they cancel.
Because I know Billy Colburn was here as well.
Yeah, they count.
Right, and I saw in the Crewe Burkeville Journal that Amelia is opting out of
Yes.
Virginia's Growth Alliance.
Yeah. I don't
So,
know.
I imagine there might be some discussions with the Nottaway Board of Supervisors of considering the same.
All right, thank you, Mr. Misfit. Any questions? Further matter? Very good, we're going to continuing business. I'll put this in as a placeholder. Is there any continuing business anybody wishes to bring up?
I just have a question for the town manager. Did the engineer get down there on Lipscomb Street? Do you know, or did the weather mess that up?
Don't know. In fact, I thought of it earlier tonight, and I'll call them on if I, what they found out.
Wait, did the police chief have any comments on striking sergeant from appointees in the charter?
I didn't hear any feedback at all from him on any of that.
It may be best to hold off on that for next session then, since,
If you wish.
I think we should probably sit down with him.
right, I'm thinking it's getting pretty close to the time when Delegate Wright has deadlines and such, so.
Okay.
Well, what are our thoughts on that? Do we see it as something critical that? My initial thought was, since we're changing the charter, might as well do it all in one swoop.
Yeah, the only thing is, if someone has that title, we really owe them an explanation.
Right.
So that they don't feel like they're being demoted. I mean, that's not the intent at all.
No, no.
Well,
I mean,
it also wouldn't be a demotion, it's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
take appointment from
You
the
know what I
council.
mean,
Yeah,
it's
right.
just,
Sure. Okay, sounds good.
So we'll table it,
Sure.
keep it,
Table it.
let's table
Okay. All right, is there any new business to come before council?
it. Yes. It's the end of the year, and we've accomplished a lot over the last 12 months. I'd like to let everyone know that we've accomplished a lot over the last 12 months by issuing an annual report sometime in the first couple months.
I'm with you, and I kind of took that for action, but I had been so overwhelmed with my other two jobs that
Right,
I was
right.
not able to really dig
Yeah,
into it.
I know the feeling.
But that's still on my table for action,
Okay.
and I got it.
well, we do have to,